originating from the podcast studio inside FAM 360's headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. This is the Above and Beyond Leadership Podcast. The Above and Beyond Leadership Podcast is designed to encourage, equip, and inspire our audience through a combination of inspirational stories and real-life experiences shared by other successful and skilled leaders in a variety of vocations. We hope that the Above and Beyond Leadership Podcast empowers each one of us to step out, step up, and ultimately thrive as leaders. Now here's our host, Mr. Matt Maloney.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Above and Beyond Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. Matt Maloney. So I want to start off by saying this. I am super honored and humbled to have our guest on today. And I'm going to reveal who our guest is in just a moment, but I want to talk a little bit about her and her family, just to give you a little bit of a snippet of who she is and a little bit about what they're doing. So today's guest, through her daughter, Jordyn, and the rest of her family, are really on a mission, from my perspective, to really change the world. But it's a mission that originally was planned on just a small little summer project, which we'll learn about today. But through really God's divine intervention and through how her and her family and their faithful pursuit of really spreading kindness and joy throughout the community and now the world, this, what I'll call movement, if you will, has really just taken off in such an amazing way. Their organization is leading the way to help people understand more about people with disabilities, and specifically autism. Her daughter, Jordyn, has autism. And really, they're just at the center of change across the globe, and really just infusing kindness and love. And so when they started this summer t-shirt project, and again, we'll learn about this, Jordyn really I think it was 40 shirts that they were looking to make and distribute, and what became just a small summer t-shirt project just exploded. So much so that it's caught the attention of professional sports teams and those such as in Major League Baseball and the NFL, and restaurant chains, one of the largest technology and consulting firms across the globe. And so before I introduce her, I'd like to just share this quote. It's a quote that many people know and have heard before. It's a quote from Gandhi, actually, and it says, "You must be the change you wish to see in the world." And I think this really encapsulates my guest and her family today. So without further ado, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Mrs. Jackie Moore.
Thank you so much. It's truly an honor to be here.
Awesome. I
am really excited about it. Your guests will quickly learn I love to talk, so give me a mic and I'll just keep going.
I like it. See, this is the kind of guest I want. It's perfect. We're just going to talk back and forth. Hopefully our guests don't get lost in all of our banter here today.
Yes.
Can you just share a little bit about just, your family first,
Yep.
Jordyn, and then how kind of this all came to be with the Summer T-shirt project and Be Kind to Everyone?
Absolutely. Okay. So my husband, Ben, and myself, we have two kids. Jordyn is 21. She has autism. And then we have Hudson, who just turned 9, and he is neurotypical. And so, our family was already a bit different. How many people wait that long in between kids? Yeah. But then you throw autism in the mix. But we were coasting. We were good. In the early years of autism, it's very hard. Everything's new. You're different than everyone. You're trying to learn what's going on. But then you get to that middle ground, 5 to 15, where you're like, okay, I figured this out. I'm good. Then you start to realize school's going to stop. And school's going to stop at 22 in the state of Georgia. Right. She's going to age out. What is she going to do? And Ben worried about that even more. As a mom, I'm in the moment. I'm doing the best I can today. Yeah. But Ben had that financial pressure, everything.
He's thinking, he's planning ahead.
How are we going to, what are we going to do for her whole life? And, what is she going to do? And, Jordyn would be perfectly content to sit in a chair and watch YouTube. She's not going to bother anybody, but she's not going to be fulfilled. And it got to us more and more of like, what are we going to do? And one night we were out on a date night and we did what most every parent does. We talk about our kids. And this topic came up. And I said, we could worry the rest of her life about what's not available, but it's still not going to be available. We got to shift our focus and we got to create something. And that's what led us to it. And I was like, no one in our family is crafty, so I don't think we're going to be making anything to sell here. And so the idea of a shirt came about. And I said, everybody, wears shirts. What if we taught her to package it? And so that's what we decided to do. But still, 40 shirts. We were like, how in the world are we going to sell 40 shirts? Like, how is this even going to be possible? And we decided, worst case scenario, we'll have 39 left over because we knew we could get my mom to buy one. And so that's where the whole idea came from. And what happened next, we still look at it. That was 4 years ago. And we called it Jordyn's Summer Shirt Project because it was going to be that summer. And we thought, we have 4 more years before she ages out of school. We can scrap that idea, come up with a new one next summer, or perfect it. Yeah. We just had no idea the way it would take off and how it would lead our life in the way it did.
Did you advertise? So, I mean, of course you told family and friends, hey, we're going to make these shirts. Yep. Jordyn's going to wrap them with care. Yes. And would you guys buy them, right?
Yes.
And you posted that.
Yes. On my personal page, because we had nothing business. This wasn't going to be a business. Right. This was going to be the summer thing. Yeah. But I was scared to death to post it because in the world of social media, you need that algorithm. And so I was afraid, like, if I posted it and nobody wanted one, like no family and friends, like it was going to be like really embarrassing. So I had my heartfelt post, but I did what
that fear factor of like, no one's going to
do it. This is going to. So I texted my mom and I said, I need a favor. I'm getting ready to post this on my personal page. Would you just please comment saying you'll buy one? I need someone to comment. So she goes, okay, I'm watching right now. And so within 5 minutes, I knew we were going to have no trouble selling 40 shirts. I made it public and my family and friends started sharing it. And so they were literally supposed to message me. I was going to, have them PayPal me. And I mean, I was getting message after message after message, comment after comment. And then that same night, I started seeing people. I'm like, I don't know who this is. Like, this isn't one of my family and friends commenting. And that's when, I think I just broke down into tears. Yeah. And at that moment, I realized as a mom of a child with autism, people want her to succeed. I think as parents of a child with a disability, we often feel alone. And you kind of think, does anyone care? They do. Yeah. Tons of people care. They just don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do.
And suddenly we gave people a way to help Jordyn be successful. And it was just comment after comment. And I told Ben, I was like, we better hope she likes rolling shirts because I think we're onto something here.
She better really love rolling shirts.
Yes.
Well, I think that's the thing is that most humans, right? And I was talking about this actually on another podcast, how we're connected through the struggles of our life, or in this podcast that I was hosting, the guest was talking about connected through our brokenness, right? Mm-hmm. But I think that all of us get drawn into these opportunities and these stories to where we want to help, but we don't know how to help.
Yes.
Right? What do you say? What do you do? And so something like this was a very, very easy, simple way for them to say, hey, I'll buy that shirt.
Absolutely.
I want to help. And then it just opens the door for an unlimited amount of possibilities, right?
And I knew going in, I wanted to have an amazing shirt because I thought it was going to be my family and friends only buying it. And I knew if they did buy it, they were buying it to help Jordyn. Sure. But I told Ben, I want them to open it and I want them to put that shirt on and it be the most comfortable, amazing shirt they've ever had.
Yes.
And that's what happened. So then they wanted to go tell everyone they knew, you need to get this shirt, and it just kind of grew from there. But one of the aspects that never hit me ahead of time, all of our shirts, or most of them say, be kind to everyone. Yeah. That's our slogan. We have it trademarked. And I was thinking about it from the perspective of, I just want the world to be a kinder place. And I was thinking about it for Jordyn, for individuals with disabilities, but I was like, you know what? The world is kind of just an angry place. We need it to be kinder to everyone. Yeah. And what we started noticing, though, is when people were getting their shirts, they would message us back. I was in the grocery store and someone held the door open for me because they noticed my shirt. Or I maybe would have done this and I didn't because I knew I had the shirt on and I didn't want to look bad. Yeah. It literally makes you stop and think when you're wearing it. And that was something I never planned out, but it has just been an amazing byproduct that's happened from it.
they say one small random act of kindness, right, can change the world,
Yes.
literally. And literally through what's on these shirts and how that's impacting not only the people that are wearing the shirt, but then the people that
Yes.
see it. I mean, it is having a profound impact on the world.
Yes. Yes.
And, I mean, there's no way you could have, as you said, there's no way you could have ever thought that,
Right.
that it would come, to where it's at today. So maybe just for the audience's benefit. So you that summer, 2018, I think it was,
Yep.
40 shirts. Within 5 minutes, you knew, hey,
Yep.
Jordyn she better love to roll shirts, because
Yes.
this is going to be something that's bigger than we thought. Walk me through kind of that first year from summer 2018 to, the end of summer 2019, or maybe the beginning of 2020. What did that look like?
Yeah. So what we did also is we took pre-orders. I forgot to mention that. So we asked people, hey, but I knew I needed to get to 40 because that was the minimum they would do because of the amount of print colors I had on the shirt.
Oh, yeah.
So we took pre-orders. Well, by the time I placed my first order, which was like a 2-week period from when I posted that, we were at enough. We were going to place an order for 1,000 shirts. And so I always like sharing that because it wasn't as if Ben and I even took our own money to start up this project. We took pre-orders, we launched that money into buying the shirts, and then we would take, the revenue, and we just kept building up and up.
Sure.
But so that first summer, we didn't have a website. We were doing things on my social media.
Yeah.
So I quickly decided, look, let's get a page for this because we wanted people to be able to post their pictures.
Still wasn't like a business per se. It was just like, hey, let's, this project's
Yes.
bigger than the summer project, but
Yes.
let's get a web page. Let's kind of professionalize a little bit.
Exactly.
Right.
And so like by August, we filed, for business incorporation, but we had a student at Jordyn's school that was a peer facilitator in her class. So a typical peer that would come in, and her mom happened to be Jordyn's paraprofessional at the time. So I had asked her, do you think Sarah would want to help Jordyn? Because at the time when Jordyn started this, she was really not able to do much of anything independently. So the idea of her to be able to roll a shirt by herself seemed like a very large goal.
Sure.
So we needed someone to help her. And we were thinking if we could do this, and Jordyn always needed a helper, you're at least making income to always pay that helper.
Yeah.
So Sarah started with us. I still remember it was like week 1 into this, but I knew her mom so well. I said, would you be okay with the girls going to lunch? And Jordyn's never done that without Ben and I.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, of course. And I said, okay. So I talked to Sarah, the teenager who we knew. And I said, okay, now Jordyn's probably going to be nervous. She's only ever been to lunch with us. So if she gets nervous and doesn't want to go, it's okay. So Sarah goes, okay. So we tell Jordyn they're going to Mellow Mushroom. She could not get out of that house fast enough. I mean, it was like, see you later, Mom. I am out of here. And Sarah goes, she's really going to miss you. I can tell. But it was
that's a typical teenager response.
Absolutely. And we never knew she even was missing that. But in her world, she was seeing it going on all around her, but she never had the opportunity. She didn't have the words to vocalize.
She didn't have the words to vocalize and communicate it.
And she had never had the opportunity. And so often I talk about the business aspect of the project and what it's given her for job skills, but it has completely changed her entire life. She is now surrounded by friends. But that one moment I knew this was going to be so much more than a summer project, and B, just about a job.
Yeah.
So anyway, she had many more lunch dates that summer because we determined she did not care if Mom went. She was actually very glad.
Yeah.
So by the end,
so cool.
By the end of the summer, I mean, it's turning into a business. And so then we were like, okay,
So now you're going into fall of 18, I guess, right?
Yes. And so we started this with the fear of what was she going to do when she ages out of school? Now we're getting ready to go into the school year, and we're like, how is she going to keep up with this when she goes to school? So we literally switched our problem from one to the other.
Yeah.
So I went to the school and I was talking to them about it.
Be careful what you wish for.
Exactly. And they said, we don't see any reason, she's old enough, she could be in the work-based learning program. We've never had a special education student do that in our entire district.
Brilliant.
But there's no reason she couldn't. And so they worked with us and Jordyn became the first special education student in Forsyth County to do that work-based learning. So her and Sarah would leave school. She would get to leave with Sarah. It wasn't even mom picking her up. So she was like, this is great.
Gosh.
They would leave and come to our house 3 days a week in the afternoon and work on the shirts. So it was just an amazing change. But you talk about a life-changing, like your life changing from June to September.
And I mean, that's in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Because
Yes.
summers go so fast anyway. I mean, that's in the blink of an eye. So she goes to school, gets the first person with the disability, right, to be able to go out and run this work in Forsyth County. So at this point in time, are more T-shirt orders rolling in? Are you guys like, hey, I'm going to have to design a new T-shirt? What does all that look like?
So we start getting orders every day. And like I said at the beginning of the podcast, we also have a son, Hudson. So at the time, he was 4. Well, as a mom, I panic because that's what moms do. And I said, Ben, we started this for Jordyn, but I said, she's getting a lot of attention. You're like starting to go to the grocery store and people recognize her. And I was like, we can't have Hudson left out.
Yeah.
So we decided to design, our first shirt was called the Jordyn.
Yep, the Jordyn.
The Be Kind to Everyone Jordyn style. And it was more geared towards girls. So I said, let's start another one and call it the Hudson. And that way all of our followers will know Hudson.
Yeah.
And I truly think to this day,
And more of a boy style shirt,
yes,
right?
Exactly. I think to this day, it's probably one of the best things we could have ever done because it gave him ownership in it. When we would go out places, people would know Hudson. And it is amazing how he has never once been jealous of Jordyn, of the attention she gets. He is her biggest helper, and that's what we needed.
Yeah.
She's always going to need that support system, and
No doubt.
we always want him to be that for her.
Yeah.
And so that one
and
thing,
you could have had that. You could have had that situation where maybe it's like, Mom, Dad, I'm just tired of this.
Absolutely.
Like, right?
100%. We spent a lot of time in the basement in those years.
Yeah.
And he could have been like, this is no good, but he didn't. But I think seeing his part in it always made such a big difference for him and our whole family.
Yeah.
And that was just one of the best things we could have ever done. But it was an incredible summer. And never could we have seen it going. By that September, our local newspaper had reached out to us and wanted to do a story. And I was like, yeah, sure. So they come over, and the day it was going to be released, Jordyn was in school. So I told Ben, I was like, we got to go get a copy of the paper. And I'm expecting, to search through the whole paper to find a little spot in the back. And we pull up in front of Forsyth County News, and you see, the paper things where you put the money in and you still get the paper out, and the window and there is Jordyn shining through on the front page.
Oh my goodness.
And it was,
that's
I just
so
broke down
sweet.
crying because I said, Ben, here she is. I said, she has spent her whole life being noticed for what she couldn't do. And suddenly here she is on the front page for what she could do. And I think it was that attitude that went through and changed her entire life. Being noticed for, everybody needs to be noticed for what they can do.
That's
and
right.
I think so often individuals with disabilities, we talk so much about what they can't do or how they're different. We forget to include all the things they're good at, the things they love. One of my favorite things is, we live at the ball fields a lot.
Yeah.
So we have Hudson, he loves baseball. So any follower knows Jordyn loves a Pepsi. And so one of the dads on the team will come up to Jordyn on Sundays and he was like, hey, Jordyn, have you had a Pepsi yet? But it's that instant connection. And she feels included. And it's just been an amazing thing to watch happen.
That's so cool. I mean, and it goes back to, you were talking about how Jordyn necessarily couldn't verbalize how she wanted to be able to go out with Sarah or her, right? Hey, Mom, Dad, I'm out of here. I'm ready to go, have lunch with my friend, right? And it's the same way. I think that, to your point, we don't realize how much we're leaving behind and leaving on the table with just because someone has a disability doesn't mean that we can't, that they don't want to.
Absolutely.
They want to, they just like all human beings, they want to feel valued. They want to feel like, hey, look at me. I know I can contribute to this.
Yes.
In our family, we have my brother-in-law, his oldest daughter has autism. Her name's Anna. And so my brother-in-law is remarried to my sister-in-law. So my wife's sister married him. And, we witness that, every day with her, or every day that I see her.
Right.
And she, she's brilliant, frankly. I mean, just like some of the things that I'm like, that's amazing. How does she know that? How does she do,
Yes.
But we just forget that just because they can't verbalize it doesn't mean that, that it's
Absolutely.
not there. So as you're moving through this process, you file for incorporation. Now it becomes a small business.
Yep.
You and Ben have your own like vocations, right?
Absolutely.
You're doing your own kind of thing.
Yes, 100%.
So what does that look like? And was there a moment where it was like, okay, when did that moment come, I guess, when it was like, okay, you know what? Maybe we are going to leave our current jobs and careers and focus on this.
So we're going along, but eventually I'm staying up later at night. He's getting up a little earlier in the day. And because you got to get stuff done and you got to do your quote real job first. And so we had gotten to the point with me, and I'm like, I'm not going to bed till 1, 2, because I'm doing emails or this or that. And I was like, look, I think I need to just devote my time to here. So we did. And so I took the first plunge.
So you took the first plunge. Okay.
I did, yes. So then we have a neighbor. She was 15, 16 at the time, I think 16. And she decides she's going to do a DECA project with us, her and her friend. And they're going to get us doing TikTok. And I just laughed at them. I said, I am a middle-aged woman. I don't sing and I don't dance. And I'm assuming that's all TikTok is. So I was like, what am I going to do on there? But I said, sure, I'll do this. Well, it got time to, like, they had to get their project done. And so they're texting me. They're like, you have to post something. Like, you have to do a video. Our project is about done. I was like, oh, I don't know that I can do this.
Wasn't a dance? It
was not a dance. But I've gotten Ben to do a dance on there since. But anyway, no. So we do this informational thing and I post it and I go to bed. I'm thinking, who's going to see this? The next morning, both girls are texting me, oh my goodness, it's already going viral. You need to get your website in here and this and that. And I was like, oh my gosh. It was insanity. And so TikTok was literally that game-changing moment for us.
It was the catalyst. It was the vehicle that really changed everything.
Who knew that they did that? Like that. But so we started doing videos with Jordyn on there, letting her talk, showing her working. And we started gaining followers very fast. And we also started having to spend more time in the basement and more time. And it was January a year and a half ago, and we got that panicky feeling of orders are coming in more than we physically have time to get out. And it's in our basement. How can you hire people? And that's when we knew we had to start searching for a place outside of our basement because we just couldn't keep up. It was a great feeling, but it was also a scary feeling when you have more orders coming in than you can handle.
You don't want to let your customer base down, right?
Yes,
and all
but
these
you
people
also
are
need to
supporting
sleep.
you, but you got to sleep and you got to live in your home.
I said, Ben, we can't have Hudson. Like, this isn't fair to Hudson. So that was the moment we knew we need to take a step forward and we need to get a place outside of our basement. But it was funny. We were sitting around the other day at the shirt shop looking at this warehouse now. And we're like, can you believe it hasn't even been 2 years since we were in our basement? That's just crazy now to think of.
Is that what it's been 2 years since you've been in the warehouse?
It will be 2 years this coming March. So it hasn't, it's been about a year and a half. So it's just been insane.
That's crazy.
But that's,
So for the audience, Hudson, who Jackie mentioned, is a boy that's on a team that I coach, a baseball team. He's on the same team with my son Manning. They've been on a team now, I guess, 2 seasons, or we're kind of going on, I guess this is maybe going on the 3rd season, but it's kind of a travel ball team. And it's been remarkable, the impact that Jordyn and Jackie and their family, but Jordyn has had on our baseball team. And we had the really distinct privilege and honor of being able to play in a tournament where we made jerseys, or they made jerseys, and we had Be Kind to Everyone on our jerseys, and we played in that. And we had several people at the I don't know if you knew that, but at the tournament, like come up to us and say and ask, Oh, I've seen that. I know about that. I've seen that online. Is that what that is? And I said, yeah, that's what that is.
Yeah.
So it was really cool.
It was neat.
Yeah.
It's been, I've just loved the whole baseball experience, especially now that we reached travel ball for Jordyn. I mean, again, there's Hudson, but for Jordyn, being with the same families all the time makes my anxiety so much less. It lets her enjoy it. It's just been great.
Jackie, thanks so much for being on the show with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I could talk all day. I love it. This is a great conversation.
So I want to pick back up on our next episode because I don't want to gloss over some of the important things that we've talked about, and I want to make sure that our audience gets to hear more information about the Summer T-Shirt Project and Be Kind to Everyone. And for all of our listeners out in podcast land, thanks again for joining us. I hope today's episode was both empowering and inspirational. Until the next episode, I hope that our daily lives are filled with opportunity to lift others up as we aim to go above and beyond. Thanks, everyone.
Our executive producer and host is Matt Maloney, President and CEO of FAM360. Strategic Communication Coordinator, Michelle Ducato. Production assistance by Tin Dog Studios. Director, John Roland. Creative Assistant, Whitney Roland. Theme song, Connecting Dots by Curtis Cole, provided by Artlist. Please subscribe today and don't miss any of our weekly episodes.